Hello everyone and welcome back to our channel, the Xanadu Chronicles. My name is Frank and today we're going to have fun with tablescapes. Now, the holidays are just around the corner and I want to give you some ideas and tips to create interesting and engaging settings. Now, a beautiful tablescape can help start conversations amongst your guests because who doesn't like to ooh and ah at a beautiful table? Secondly, it can help promote inspiration, and what better gift to give your guests than inspiration to leave with? And then finally, it can encourage some experimentation, which is what I'm hoping this video will do for you. Now, I will definitely walk around the table and talk about each of these place settings because I've got 4 different settings set up for you, and talk to you a little bit more about what I did to kind of push the envelope a little bit with the items that I use. Now, tip number 1, before I get behind the camera and start showing you each of these things, is to source from everywhere. Do not just rely on one place for your goods. Obviously, that's something that most people don't do anyways, but you'd be surprised. Some people just only buy retail. They don't consider other avenues for acquiring such beautiful things. Now, I go to estate sales, I go to garage sales, consignment shops, antique malls, thrift stores. I do it all. And in fact, everything that you see here right now, that from the table and the chairs and the chandelier to everything on the table, is secondhand. Nothing is brand new. So it just goes to show you how much is out there, and it just, I mean, my God, there's so much beautiful stuff out there. And really, it's because of this, and it's because I do this, that I've been able to amass such a variety of things to work with. And now I can mix patterns and colors and just play with it to my heart's content. Now, I know you're probably thinking, oh my God, Frank, you're a freaking hoarder, but no, I'm not. There is a difference between a collector and a hoarder, and that is organization. And as you can see behind me, my china cabinet is organized to the max. So I'm not a hoarder. I'm a collector. I'm a collector. So like I said, I'm going to get behind the camera. I'm going to talk to you about each of these settings, and be aware. You could do a whole table of just different settings and call that a day. There's nothing saying that everything has to be the same setting. So take this as inspiration as well. Mix and match. And again, as you're shopping and you're going out, if you can get at least one set of a full service, meaning dinner plate, salad plate, bread plate, soup bowl, at least that, just think about it. If you get one set, same pattern, of those pieces, and do that multiple times, just think of the variety and how much you could have to work with. But my personal rule is I won't buy a set of anything unless there's at least 4. So 4 items. But again, as I walk through each of these settings, I'll talk to you a little bit more about those tips so that you can start creating your collection of beautiful dinnerware and dinner pieces to use at your gatherings. So let's get started. Okay folks, so now I'm behind the camera, and what I'm going to do first is I'm going to walk around my table so you can get a better idea of each of these table settings. I'll do a close-up of each so that you can see that, and I'll also try to provide you some still photos so you can get a better idea of each of the settings, but I probably will do that when I'm talking about each of them. But I kind of want you to get a good idea of what I have on this table right now, just so you can have some reference before I start talking about it. Now, what I love about this as is that, to set a table like this would be great because everyone gets their own kind of unique table setting. And as I was saying earlier, as you're shopping around, it would only require that you have, one set of each of these patterns to work with. But again, I'm going to give you a couple tips so that you can increase your collection like I have inexpensively and still allow for a lot of variety. So here's the full table again. Okay, now let's get started with this first one. My inspiration here was kind of the idea was to have like a West Palm Beach kind of vibe, kind of preppy, kind of colorful and floral, and it has the motifs that are very reminiscent of that style of design. And again, very colorful. The green and gold and yellow colorway obviously is very strong in this. But my tip is to, again, mix and match your patterns, but always try to add something unexpected in the mix. And again, I don't expect everyone to pick up on all the subtleties that I throw in there, but in the back of my mind, knowing that I did it, I am satisfied with the fact that I threw something interesting in there that I hope my guests will pick up on. Now, everything kind of relates. It's almost very mid-century in its feel. But if you look at the utensils, I have here horn-based knives and forks. And that, in this mix, is the unexpected thing. Because, I could put just beautiful gold flatware down here and it would be just as stunning. But I wanted to rough it up a little bit. So instead of everything being so glam and sleek and beautiful, I went along and added this just to throw a little wrench in the plans, right? And again, I'm going to show you the salad plate here, because this is something I want you to think about when you're shopping. These smaller plates, which can be used as dessert plates or salad plates, you can typically find these, in sets of at least 4 everywhere. And, if you've got maybe 1 or 2 dinner plate sets that you can utilize, and you've got several salad plate sets, you've got yourself some variety there. It's something you can work with now. So just by switching this out, you can do a whole bunch of different settings. And of course, it does help to have a couple sets of colorful glasses. And if you've got your barware, employ that too, because as I've said before in one of my other table setting videos, I like to see, as you can see here, a goblet for wine or whatever, and then a shorter glass because it doesn't impede. There's less of a risk of clanking your glasses together or hitting one glass and knocking it over. If you have a shorter glass that, could be for your water or your sodas or whatever, the person might want to drink. But I like to have a goblet and typically a shorter glass. It doesn't have to be as short as this, but use your cocktail glasses because they're beautiful. And look at that. The green and the gold colorways and the yellow just really speak to one another. This is one of my favorite dishware sets, and coincidentally, one of my most expensive sets that I purchased because it is stunning. It's from the 60s. It is truly mid-century. And this set was acquired at a secondhand store, or actually, a designer in Seattle who had a beautiful store of things, and she would go out and all over the country and shop, estate sales and stuff. And found this set from a family that had never used it. And it was passed down from, I guess, the husband's parents, and they just never used it, and it's just like immaculate. I got to show you one more time. Just immaculate, and I can't wait to use that. Even though it's for the fall and it works in this setting, I can't wait to use that for the spring and summer too, because it just lends itself to that. It's gorgeous. And so here is my setting number 2. Now this setting, I think you can kind of tell, is a little bit more woodland themed, and there's a lot of transferware. Let me move this here because this is actually horn. That's a horn napkin ring, but I've got a transferware salad plate with a unique shape, and it's got mushrooms in the center. And when I lift this up, you get another image, another transferware plate of a beautiful winter scene. But I liked because around the edges here, there's green, and it's vine work, and it feels very woodland to me. And this is, again, another transferware set or piece that is of a completely different pattern, but it's a darker brown, so they work together, right? Now, the green glassware, of course, relates to it, and the horn relates to it, but the unexpected thing here, because remember I used the horn here? I could have easily used the horn setting here, and that's expected. So I decided to go with something that was unexpected, which is the bakelite and a very shiny gold gilt lipped cocktail glass, something very glamorous and glitzy, along with this very rustic kind of look. But these two items are my unexpected kind of throw-ins because the colors relate to one another. It brightens it all up because of the lightness of the color. And again, it's something that's unexpected. Now, for those of you who may not know, let me just talk to you about the utensils. Now, when you're at a dinner and you're setting it up like this, or if you sit down to do a dinner like this, if they do a service like I do, which is called a la Russe, and that means bringing out the dishes sequentially. So I would bring out bread for the bread plate and with the butter knife there, separate butter knife, and then a salad for the salad plate. And then for the utensils, just the rule of thumb is as you're eating your meal, you always go from the outside in. So this would be your salad fork, This would be your dinner fork, and your knife you could use with, salad or dinner or, both if you wanted. But that's how you progress through your utensils from the outside in, for those of you who may not know, because not everybody does know. And usually the salad fork is smaller than the dinner fork. But if you notice here in my West Palm Beach setting, the forks are the same size, and that's because this particular set of silverware didn't have a separate salad fork. So I just put two of the same size forks down. No one really cares, just so long as you go from the outside in to eat. And then that way, you don't get confused. Alrighty, now working my way around the table here to my third setting. Now, let's take a look at this. Take everything in here. And you probably can spot what the unexpected item is. Let me go remove the napkin from the plate so you can see the design on the plate. But this here to me was kind of the exotic setting. And what makes that exotic to me, of course, is the design on the platter. It's like an oasis with the palm tree and the beautiful villa in the background and this peacock here, but it's obviously in the desert. I've got it on a pewter plate, which is you think exotic should warrant maybe something a little bit more glitzy underneath, but I like the roughness of the pewter. And I paired it with these actual bamboo silverware here. Now, the color story is very strong, of course, with the white and the blue, and even with the silver touches. But the unexpected item is the fact that I have used shell, not only in the napkin holder, which is obviously a shell, but in the shape of the bread plate, as well as this abalone shelled or encrusted drinking glass, which is not a cocktail glass, but it is definitely shorter than the goblet that I would employ for wine. So this would be your water glass, but it is covered with abalone shell. And just the way that it picks up the chromium blue, and it's iridescent, and again, it's shell, and you would not think necessarily of the desert and shell going together, but in this scenario, I made it work along with the bamboo. So go figure, okay? Again, mixing and matching, mixing and matching. Now, there's nothing wrong with a monochromatic place setting. Absolutely feel free to do that. It's just not the aesthetic that I typically go for because I am a maximalist and I have a lot of collections and I like to mix things up. So, my fourth and final is this lovely setting, which to me was more of a whimsical, kind of like a fairy tale kind of feel to it because of the color story. I've got the light lavender purple and the purpley reds here in the thing, along with the salmony pink of the napkin. But let me show you here what's going on the salad plate. See, very whimsical, very childlike, very fairy tale. But see the formal. This is a very formal dinner plate actually, with the silvered leaves going around the edge. So without this plate, it could be a very formal setting, but because of this, I've just totally made it more kid-like. I paired it again with a taller glass. This is another cocktail glass, but it's definitely shorter than the goblet, and it's a silver top Dorothy Draper cocktail glass. I've got the pewter plate. Again, I'm now making it a little bit more rustic. It's not so formal. It's a little bit more fun. But again, the unexpected is the mix of the formal here. This is actual silver plate with monograms on them. The utensils have monograms, and they're just amazing, along with this more formal napkin ring, along with this very whimsical overall setting and color play. That is my unexpected twist on this, is throwing those formal elements in with what is really much more of a childlike, colorful, whimsical, fairy tale kind of setting. So, now we've gone through all of those and talked about the unexpected factors. Now, ultimately, here, what you want your table to do is be functional. No matter how beautiful it might be, no matter what you decide to put in or put on your table, it's got to be functional. Your guests have got to be able to talk to one another and see one another and reach for their drinks and their food easily without, worrying about knocking some decor item over or whatever. And that leads me again to this final thing here, which is the scale of my centerpiece. Now, I told you earlier, my table is a lot skinnier than probably your typical table because it works in this space much, much better for us. And we can sit, again, I can set 6 places beautifully here, but that means there's no room down the center to put the food. And so I want to have something there, typically, and a correctly scaled centerpiece is what I would opt for because, again, I do a service à la Russe, not à la Francais. And à la Francais is when you have the food down the table symmetrically, like you'd have a bowl of potatoes here, a bowl of potatoes here, your turkey or whatever in the middle, and then the condiments on both sides, so everybody has access to the same food. But because I serve things one dish at a time, because of my table size, to have a centerpiece, I have to think about, the scale of that. And so with that, if you look at what I have right now, which is just 2 single candle holders, along with a stone vase with artificial flowers at this point, and of course, the preference would be to have real florals, real plant life in there, but this works just as beautifully well. And I've got a figurine here of a pheasant, which is nicely placed. It's out of the way of, this person here sitting, but it still adds to the centerpiece design. And I created this centerpiece so that no matter what setting is used, no matter which scheme is used, this centerpiece would work with every single one of them, and I wouldn't have to, I wouldn't have to change it. But again, as a centerpiece on a table with 4 different settings, it works beautifully too. So I'm going to pat myself on the shoulder for that one because I'm very proud to have been able to make something that, again, works with all 4 separately or together. And it's just enough, I think, to add that final touch, final layer to your table. So I hope my tips have helped you. I've hoped you learned something new, and I really hope you've enjoyed it. And as always, if you have, please comment, please subscribe, please tell your friends and family, please watch more of my videos, because everything helps just grow my channel that much faster. So again, I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope everyone has a fantastic holiday season, and create some beautiful tablescapes. So until next time, folks, have a good one. Bye for now. If you haven't seen our previous videos, click on the links and watch away. Please share, like, and most importantly, subscribe to our channel. We'll do our best to keep you entertained and coming back for more. Bye for now.